Thanks, Margot. Just 2 seconds before I finish the presentation, I just wanted to say, thanks very much, Tom, because basically, I think the good way of actually learning about this is to go through project examples. When I used to be a director at the Institute for Housing and Urban Development Studies, we would ask cities to come with their own cases about what they needed to finance, and I think that's the intention. So I think, as we go forward, this is a really good way of working. The idea of today is to kind of give an overview of what are the critical issues in this whole financing thing. I will just do the final presentation, which, yes, that one. Okay. Only 2 slides. So there are 2 really major parts of this: national and state governments, national on the one hand and state governments on the other, and local and regional governments. They both need to work together, but it's also on the part of the local governments. Oops, hang on, I forgot to do that. It's also on the part of the local governments to be able to demand that the national and provincial governments and the state governments help them, but they need to get together to do that, right? There is a range of things, particularly in relationship to the financial system, that local governments can't do by themselves, and it will need the national government to push forward on greening the financial system, the taxes that can tax environmental problems, looking at capital market regulation to incentivize investments that local governments can have access to. They need to be able to help local governments to set up and to be able to develop the right kind of projects. This is something that is really important. And at the same time, that local governments need to help themselves, right? Basically building a strong institutional base within the city to identify funding and financing priority for green investments. That in the Philippines, I've seen examples, for example, in Baguio, where a committee was established underneath the mayor to actually do green investments, right? So the environment group then had a way of accessing on a regular basis the financial people. They can at least talk to them. So there is a institutional way for the cities to kind of prepare themselves for this, and for environmental people to be able to link to the financial expertise that they do have access with. The other thing is we need to be able to build viable projects for greenhouse gas and climate positive projects and environmental projects, but the various groups within the city, the departments, need to be aware of what that is and to bring those kind of projects forward. The city needs to reach out to the capital market institutions and the local private sector to be able to do that as well. And as I said, that it's really important for cities to get together in networks to be able to lobby the national government and the provincial governments and state governments to be able to get the dedicated financing facilities or windows within existing financial facilities, and to look at ways of generating viability gap funding for projects. In other words, where projects are not what we call bankable, where they're not financially self-sustaining, and that really is important for things like adaptation projects where you're adapting to climate change, or environmental projects where you're improving environmental management. Those kind of projects rarely generate the amount of money that is needed. So we need to look at ways of subsidizing those projects. So that's the way forward. The cities have to start with themselves, get their own act together, make sure that the environmental people start talking to the financing people, and then look at ways of generating the right kind of projects, attractive type of projects. But then the cities need to get together and to lobby the national governments and the provincial governments to be able to move forward, particularly in relationship to the financing institutions. Okay, thank you very much.